Do you like deathblade but can't decide whether you should go remain or surge? Well, today I would help you. And don't worry, I'm not going to cover only damage. I will talk about all aspects and what I consider like important things and the differences between playing both since I have been playing both for a whole year now. And I am originally a Surge player and they picked up remaining in the last 6 months, I guess. I will explain the differences and let me actually start with damage differences so we can get it out of the way and get to the more important parts of the video. If you only care about damage, from the get-go just go with Surge. If damage is the only thing you care about, the game at the moment favors burst classes and Surge is burst and remaining is consistent damage. So go for Surge if you only care about damage. However, I have to mention that Surge is harder to play and will require you to know the HP bars and the boss patterns by heart. I'm not saying that remaining does not require that, it's just that missing Surge is way more riskier and will cause you to lose way too much damage than missing your skill zone remaining, for example. And it's already known that it's nearly impossible to keep high uptime with the remaining, but with Surge it's possible, but you need to be a good player. And now let me talk about what is more expensive. As you know, like Surge has always been known for being the more budget option, but this would sound weird to some of you since the book is more expensive. The Surge book is more expensive than the remaining one and almost double it in price. But you have to understand, if you only care about 5x3 setup, then remaining is definitely cheaper. But if we're talking about general gold sync, remaining is more expensive because it requires more gems, it requires more tripods, it requires a lot more of gold sinks than Surge. While Surge, if you watched like my gem efficiency video, you could get away with running only one Surge gem, high leveled Surge gem, and you will be completely fine. So if you're planning to make Deathblade your main and you care about gold, I'll advise you to go with Surge. However, if you want it just like as an alt that just capable of clearing raids, you don't care about MVPs, you don't care about appearing in the MVP screen, then you can go with remaining because it would be cheaper for you, especially if you go remaining 5 build and you pair it with level 5 gems. That would be a really good alt for, and it's more than capable of clearing all the raids. And now let me talk about the playstyle. Surge playstyle is more like a selfish playstyle. It's like you only care about yourself and getting like 20 stacks and launching your Surge. However, with remaining, it's more of a like a team player because remaining refresh your cooldowns faster, so you would give more party synergies than a Surge player. I'm talking about the attack speed one because the damage one is 100% in both engravings, so you would give more attack speed synergy and you would also help better with stagger because remaining has more stagger because it's faster and it has also better weak points because it's faster as well. Like both have the same amount of stagger, the same amount of weak point. It's just that remaining is faster and you can refresh the cooldowns. That makes it way better for a party. And that will get me to the next point, which is hardship and like party finder, because I know some people care about this. And from my experience, remaining have an easier time in party finder than Surge, just for the things I mentioned. People would want the attack speed synergy if you apply with a Surge player. That depends obviously on the lobby leader, but I think most would rather have a remaining, especially if the raid is new, because as I mentioned, Surge require you to play better, and it's way harder to play when a newer raid comes out because you don't know the boss patterns and the HP bars. People would rather take a remaining player because it's the safer option and will give them more synergy and more stagger, more weak point. It's overall better for the team. Also, like Surge player base being one of the most toxic player base does not help at all with this thing as well, because I remember so many lobbies that I tried to join with my Surge builds that had a Surge leader that would completely like deny me even if I had 40 eye lovers up over them just because he's a Surge player. Because Surge player are kinda toxic and have such a big ego that they think that they are the best one at playing their class and that every other Surge is bad. So playing Surge you might get denied for the most silly reasons, and sometimes you would even get judged inside the raid. Especially if you're just chilling in a weekly raid that you're just clearing and you don't care, you just want it to be done. You don't care about like MVP or anything, you're just playing casually. If there is a Surge player in that raid playing another class at the time, they will like judge you really hard. They would be like paying attention to what you do and like point your mistakes. And this happened to me countless times. And I think we really need to change that because I had way better experience with on my striker. When I meet another striker main from my ult, we have the most chill conversation. Even when they want to give me advice or something, they do it nicely. It's kind of a weird thing. Like from my experience, the deathblade community is super toxic. Now let me talk about bussing because I know a lot of you care about bussing and some might want the character just to bus on it. From my experience, it heavily depends on the raid. Most of the time, it's better to bus on remaining. And it's also for the reason I mentioned. Faster stagger, faster weak points, so you get the point. Like, most of the mechanics in the game for bussing require like more stagger, more weak points. It's also better for your partners in the bus because you keep giving them the synergy. While buzzing with Surge, it's better to funnel the Surge player in a bus. For example, get a Gun Lancer with a Bard for 3-man bus, for example, and let the Deathblade do all the damage, and you just funnel like damage buffs and let the Surge carry out the damage. So, bussing wise, kind of depends on the raid, but most of the time it will be better on remaining. Now, I hope all of that helped you in choosing. However, in my own personal preference, if you care about it, I prefer Surge, and I do play both. If you're a Deathblade main, I would advise you to have both builds because it's always better to play both engraving in your class. Just drop the ego, stop saying Surge is better. Just have both builds. They are both Deathblade. Like the class is Deathblade, not Surge. So even though I prefer Surge, I still enjoy remaining and I still play it. That's my own personal preference, and see you in another one.